studies that are being conducted by universities that continue to be repeated emphasize the fact that in the business world, 85% of your success in the business world is created by emotional intelligence, not rational or logical intelligence. Now, I have never been part of these studies. All I know is that when Harvard University and Stanford University and Aberdeen and when Cambridge, when they do these researches, they keep coming up with factors that say 85% of your success in the business world is connected with your EQ and not with your IQ. Your IQ is very helpful. In fact, your IQ is something that will help you get a job, and we all want to get a job, but that's not your goal, is to just get a job. After you get a job, you want to go someplace in your job. And in order for you to be promoted, people are not going to be measuring your IQ when they're looking to promote someone. They're going to be measuring what contribution you bring to this company that makes us all work together better. And so much of working together better has to do with EQ, not with IQ. And so a lot of our success in life is based on this subject that we do not spend that much time on, but this determines where you will go in the work world. And I would like to give you an illustration that demonstrates why researchers say this is true. There's a very large insurance company, Metropolitan Life in my country. It's not necessarily the largest insurance company, but it's massive. And Metropolitan Life makes a lot of money. This is just one of the headquarters of Metropolitan Life. Obviously, if they can build multi-million-dollar buildings and staff them with people, they make lots of money. Metropolitan Life hires, back a few years ago, they were hiring about, let me get the figure right, they were hiring 5,000 sales agents every year to work in their company. 5,000 new employees only in sales. And in order for those salespeople to be trained in a 2-year period, they were spending $30,000 per sales agent for them to be trained. Now, when you start doing the math, and Metropolitan Life was doing the math, they were spending $300 million on training. The question was, are we happy with what we're getting with our $300 million investment? And they decided they were not, because 5 years after these people were hired, 4 out of 5 had quit. They had 1 person left out of 5 after 5 years. So when you take a look at this $300 million investment, they're feeling that about 80% of that is just disappearing and it's not worth it. And so they hired a psychologist from the University of Pennsylvania, Martin Siegelman, to do research. Martin, please explain to us what we need to do in order that we will use that money better. You have access to all of our employees. Martin Siegelman did research on 3 generations of workers, 15,000 people. And after he did research on these 15,000 people that worked for Metropolitan Life, he said, I can tell you why your people are successful or why they fail. Let me explain. When I research who is successful, the whole thing comes down to one topic, optimism. This is a contrast between those people who are highly optimistic and those people who are not highly optimistic. In the first year, those people who are strong in optimism sell 21% more insurance policies than people who are not very optimistic, 21%. Well, after 2 years, the people who are more optimistic, they sell 57% more insurance than the people who are not highly optimistic. Who do you think quits? It's the people who aren't optimistic. And Martin Siegelman said, here's the research. If you hire people who are optimists, they will stay with your company and work for you, and your $300 million will be a good investment. If you do not hire optimistic people, you can say goodbye now. Do you know that in their analysis of recruiting, they did not have a single question about a person's optimism? Success in this company is based on optimism. I have a question for you. Can you study optimism at the university? Is there a class you can take? Oh, do you think you can actually change how optimistic you are? In this world, a lot of people go, hey, look, I'm just a pessimist. That's who I am. You don't have to stay there. Because optimism is an EQ competency, and people can grow in their optimism. So success in the work world is tied to EQ. Success in life is tied to EQ. There's things that we all want in life, and one of the things that we want is we want to have really great, strong relationships. But our relationships are not very strong when they are explosive and when our emotions are out of control. And there are so many people that want to have a close family, but when they analyze what they have, their families are not close. And if you were to do a deeper analysis of why families are not close, the way that parents are working with their emotions, and the way that they're connecting with children, and the way that children are working with their emotions is creating distance, and people are not achieving their goals because of emotional topics. And then finally, emotional intelligence is important because we all have distressing emotions that are very difficult. There's times that we're depressed. There's times that we're angry. There's times that we feel hopeless. There's times that we feel discouraged. And when those distressing emotions come, do we have any options or not? The person who has low emotional intelligence feels the emotional dictator. Well, I'm a little bit depressed right now, so I really can't do anything. You know, I'm really kind of down, and so I'm not going to study today. I know the exam's tomorrow, but you know, I can't study. I know that I have this real big project that I need to work on, but after she said that to me, there is no way that I'm going to be able to. And because of the distressing emotions, our capacity to achieve our goals goes way down. And we do not reach what it is that we want to reach in life. 3 motivations for emotional intelligence. As we look at the big topic of emotional intelligence, there are 2 different zones that we will be talking about in our 2 days together. Some zones have to do mostly with what's going on inside me, and some zones have to do with what's going on here with all of us. We're going to look at both of those zones. And as we do so, this diagram is going to be helpful to us, because we're going to be talking about some of these subjects. The chart is divided into 2 of personal competencies and social competencies, and every single topic that is on this chart is something that anyone can grow in, and all life long you can get better at every one of these topics. I'm so encouraged. No one is stuck. The question is, would you like to move forward? If so, let's figure out how we can work on these topics. Of all of the topics here, the author Daniel Goleman, who is one of my favorite writers on emotional intelligence, professor at Harvard University, he says that the most important part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. If we have good self-awareness, then I might be able to learn how to work with my emotions well. I might be able to connect with you better if I have good self-awareness. If I don't have good self-awareness, I can try really hard on a lot of things, and nothing is going to happen. Self-awareness. So we're going to jump into self-awareness right now. After we talk about it a while, we'll take a break. Later, Raleigh's coming up, and she's going to be talking about self-awareness, because this is where we need to begin. Now, I have a question for you related to self-awareness. I have 2 different phrases that sound very similar. he knows something, and he is aware of something. My question for you is, what is the difference between those two phrases? What do you think? Yes?
When you're aware of something, you don't just know the information, but you understand how it affects you or others.
Okay. When I'm aware of something, it's not just that I understand it somewhere, I understand it now. And it can affect what I'm doing. I'm aware. I use the word aware instead of know because it adds something. What else would you say is the difference between these two phrases of to know something or to be aware of something?
There are feelings, maybe.
There are feelings? Feelings are attached more to which word? Okay. Yeah, when we talk about the feelings that we have, we must be aware of them. Awareness gives us access to the feelings that we are experiencing right now. It is a kind of knowledge that enables us to work with feelings that I have and feelings that you have right now. It's a very interesting kind of knowledge. Anything else you see here? Difference between knowing and being aware? Aware can give you the idea of the whole picture. Okay, two different words. Truth is, if we were discussing a different topic, we may choose to define these words differently. But in the area of emotional intelligence, your description is very accurate. A person is aware of something, we say, when they are conscious of it, and when the information is in their immediate focus. And oftentimes that information can come to them along their senses. Information is in their immediate focus. Right now, I am thinking about some things, and I am not thinking about others. Right now, I am aware of some things, and I am not aware of others. When we talk about somebody who knows something, sometimes we're talking about information that a person has because of some rational process. And somewhere in my mind, I know it, but right now I may not be thinking about it. Now, the difference between knowing and being aware, I think, has an interesting parallel in the world of computers. So if I understand computers correctly, there's two different forms of memory in computers. And what are those two different forms of memory? There's a hard drive and there's RAM, random access memory. The hard drive is so big that pretty soon we're going to be buying hard drives that have terabytes of information. That is so much information. But the computer doesn't see all of that information in every second. In fact, my computer right now, even though it has lots of programs on it, it's basically thinking about PowerPoint. That's kind of what my computer's doing. It could think about Excel. It's not thinking about Excel right now because I didn't turn Excel on. My computer is aware of PowerPoint and aware of that information, but a lot of the information in its hard drive, it is not touching it right now. That is true for us. There are so many things that I have learned and that you have learned. For instance, I know what I'm supposed to do to be polite. Do you know what you're supposed to do to be polite? Did your parents teach you that? Yeah, they taught us that. So when you're going through your day and you're seeing all these people at school, are you being polite? That's different. See, I know how to be polite, but am I thinking about being polite right now? Oh, if I'm not thinking about it, I may not be doing it. If I am thinking about being polite, then maybe I am polite. And what everybody does is you make a choice of what you put in your random access memory. What is it that you're thinking about when you are interacting with other people? Are you thinking about how you are presenting yourself? Are you thinking about how they are feeling? You don't have to think about those things. And if you don't think about those things, the consequences could be rather difficult. Self-awareness is the ability to analyze ourselves, and if we analyze ourselves, we can self-correct. Here's a really big idea. Self-correct. I can keep going down this path until one of you tells me that I'm being an idiot. I can do that. And that means I'm waiting for someone else to correct me. And sometimes people come up to me and they tell me, Dave, you are an idiot. And I don't like that message, but it was probably good for me to hear. And I receive outside correction. Why do I wait for someone to tell me that I'm an idiot before I change? Why don't I try to make the changes even before somebody has to come and talk to me? I could self-correct. And that's what we want to do. And the person who does not self-correct is involved in the I am clueless syndrome. Have you ever experienced the I am clueless syndrome? It's sort of everywhere. There's people who are not self-aware of what they're doing. So there is this lady who talks too much. She never shuts up. You cannot have a conversation with her. And when she's talking, she is so happy. And she has no friends. No friends. And she is clueless that she has no friends. Because she's not thinking about it. She doesn't realize that she's the only person who's talking here. Oh, she's clueless. You see a person who talks about all the goals that they have in life, but the way they live their life is a little bit like this. Yeah, I really want to do some big things in life. And I'm hoping that, just a little time, and I'm going to make a difference. And does that person understand what is being broadcast from them? That the way they are carrying themselves is not creating any confidence that anyone has in them. Are they aware? Sometimes we live in a situation in which we are clueless. And the situation looks something like this. In the I am clueless scenario, there is a leader that says, hey, we just had a team meeting. Man, was that meeting really good because we are a great team. That's what the leader says. And then you talk with one of the team members who says, oh, that was the worst, boring, awfulest meeting that I've ever been part of. Somebody is seeing one thing, somebody is seeing something else. That same leader says, we are a unified and happy working team. This is great. And the team member in the same team says, well, I'm hoping that I get transferred to a different department because I'm not enjoying this at all. You have a person who is selling things, and he says, the reason why I'm successful is I create such a good personal relationship with my client. And I know all about her family, and I know about her dog, and I write these things down, and I ask about her vacation, and because we're so personal, I'm sure that's why I'm a good sales agent. And then you ask the client, and the client says, well, as long as I am able to overlook this forced and artificial approach to a relationship, as long as I can look beyond it, I can work with this person. But I tell you what, it's kind of tough. In each one of these situations, we have the I am clueless syndrome going on. I don't see what is going on, but everybody else sees it. And when that happens, we find ourselves living in a situation that feels a little bit like prison. And I think we see this happen a lot. I have seen people that start with dreams that are this big, huge. I see people that actually have the capacity, if they wanted, to reach those dreams. But you know what? It just doesn't really work out for them. Because in order to get to those dreams, they have to work effectively with other people. And they're not very good at it. And so after a while, it doesn't work, and they make their dream a little smaller. And they try a little bit again, and nobody's really enjoying them. And after they try it again, then their dream gets a little bit smaller and smaller and smaller, until the person that I once knew, who had a dream this big, is now living with a dream that I look at and I go, what happened to you? Clueless. Not realizing that the connection with other people is vital and important. There is a famous phrase that has been used by a man by the name of Socrates. And Socrates' phrase means something in philosophy, but I'm not going to use the phrase the way that Socrates used it. Okay, I'm stealing his phrase out of philosophy, and I'm going to bring it over to psychology, and it doesn't mean the same thing that Socrates said. Socrates' famous phrase is, know thyself. Know thyself. Now, in philosophy, that means one thing. I'm going to say it means something else in our discussion here. Isn't that an interesting command? Know thyself? You know, I could say, you can't tell me to know myself, because there's nobody in this world that knows me better than me. I mean, I know my thoughts, and I know my feelings, and I know my desires. I know these things better than anyone else does, so why would you tell me to know myself? Because even though I have access to my thoughts and my feelings and my desires, do I really know myself? Or sometimes do I find myself surprised and disappointed because what's going on inside me, I didn't really expect it to be there, which means I don't really know myself. I work in a company that is very interested in people knowing themselves. And so one of the things that I must do in my company is I must be involved in an analysis which is called the 360 analysis. Have any of you heard of a 360 analysis and review? Yeah? Okay, I see a few people here. This is a very interesting procedure that I must be a part of in my company. This is me, or everyone in my company. And what happens is, at least once a year, we have to get feedback from all sorts of different people. My boss answers a whole bunch of questions about me, and the clients that I work with get the exact same questions. And then the people who report to me, they get the exact same questions. And then people who are my peers, they're not above me, they're not below me in the organization, they get the same questions. And all of these people answer all sorts of questions about me, and there's a computer report that I get printed up that tells me what everybody's opinion is about me and how I work. Would you like to receive a report like that? 360?
Yes.
Well, what are they going to say? Will there be anything there that's surprising? Always. Always. The last report that I received was 22 pages long. 22 pages of people's opinion about me. Why does my company really demand that I am involved in this sort of process? Why do you think? Yeah. They're trying to help me. They're not trying to make my life difficult. They're trying to give me the information that I need so that I can, if I want, self-correct. I would rather be self-corrected than boss-corrected. How about you? I would much rather. So now I have a chance to change before I get called into the boss who says, okay, Dave, this is over. Can't do that anymore, Dave. They don't want correction to come to me that way. So they're trying to help me. Why else might my company demand that I'm involved in this kind of